Imagine That, the podcast where we explore the magic behind the magic of your favorite theme parks. Join us as we pull back the curtain on the creative process, storytelling, and design principles that make Disney parks and beyond so immersive. Whether you're a lifelong fan, a curious creative, or just love spotting the details most people miss, you're in the right place. So get ready to tap into your imagination as we take a deeper dive into the lands, attractions, and stories that bring the parks to life. Let's imagine that together. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Imagine That. I'm your host, Amanda, and today we're going to be talking about Imagineer Wathel Rogers. But before we get started, we want to thank our sponsors, Sunken City Design, Getaway Today, and Where in the Park. Big shout out to our lamplighters, our Patreons, who are keeping that conversation going over on our Discord, which, if you have not yet joined, you totally should. We're all in there. We're all talking about all things Disney, and you should be too. So it's free. It's a lot of fun. So scroll down and click the link in the show notes to check everything out. And while you're scrolling, go ahead and leave us a 5-star rating and review because that would be amazing. And just add some Disney magic to our day and tells Apple and Spotify and all the other players that we're doing something awesome. And feel free to share this with your fellow armchair Imagineer. So before we dive into our topic, let's first say hi to the rest of the crew. We have Sam. How's it going, Sam?
Hi. It's good. Glad to be here.
So happy you're here too. And of course, we have Kevin. How's it going, Kevin?
It's going great over here. Let's do this.
Let's do this. All right. So like I mentioned, we're going to be talking about Wathel Rogers. And I would say he is a pivotal Imagineer for the Disney that we know and love today. And I have a quote here from Roy E. Disney that kind of kicks things off. And he is quoted as describing Wathel as, quote, one of the head magicians behind Disney magic. And I think that is so fitting because we know that for Disney to operate, it is magic. It just is. And so for Wathel to be called one of the head magicians, we are going to dive into why that is. So, Sam, let's kick it off. What do we know about Wathel Rogers?
So it's funny that we're talking about him being one of the head musicians because really he's an Imagineer whose name you don't hear very often. Right. But you've seen his work and you felt his work in a lot of classic Disney attractions. So once upon a time, Walt Disney himself called Wathel Rogers Mr. Lincoln's father because obviously he was the genius who brought us Abraham Lincoln for the 1964 New York World's Fair. And in the process became essentially the father of audio animatronics for the Disney company. But he's got a much deeper story than that. So we're going to dive into that. Before Disney, as far as education goes, he didn't study art or animation initially. He was actually in the military. He joined the U.S. Army. And he's not like his other fellow Imagineers of the time who had animation or model building backgrounds initially. He worked with technology in the military. Kevin, I'm going to have you talk about that in a second, but he had experience working with hydraulics and the mechanical controls that would later help him build these auto animatronic systems because those were like things that you just knew when you were working in the technical systems in the military. They were just part of your basic training at the time. So, Kevin, do you want to talk about what he did for the military?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not 100% clear what he did for the military. Like, I know it says he worked for, I believe, the photography department. I'm not really clear on that. I know before we started recording, we had a conversation about him working on cameras and the mechanics of it. But you said that he didn't have an animation background though, but he actually did start in animation before the war.
Did he?
He was working at Disney before World War II. He started working in 1939 as an assistant animator. He worked on films like Pinocchio and Bambi, which I believe both of those are before the war. I'm not a history buff as much as I pretend to be, but he came
just
back.
Just plays one on TV.
Right, sure. TV that people watch this on.
Yeah,
But
he was an in-betweener and worked on those and a number of the Donald Duck cartoons during that time.
yeah, yeah. So he came back after the military, and kind of went right back to what he was doing. I mean, he went back to being in animation, um, before getting into all the mechanical stuff that we kind of know him for today. So, yeah, the whole reason why what I've seen again, there's a lot of with all Imagineers and all Disney like people, it feels like there are multiple stories out there. So you kind of have to piece together like what is true and what is not. And we're not 100% sure right now. We've been like arguing as a group here.
We're
The
not
things that I
We're not
effectively.
arguing.
well, not arguing, but like discussing like what we found, and it's like, how's that different than what you found? But according to what I found, Walt Disney liked the way that Wathel would create miniatures, and Wathel didn't do that on company time. He was doing that at his home, like as a hobby. And I don't even know how Walt Disney found out about it, but Walt was like, "Hey, you're really good at that." And at that point in time, he was designing Disneylandia, which was the project to create miniatures that would go on trains, go around the country. That never happened, but he threw Wathel into this world of creating miniatures for that project, which included that Project Little Man, which was one of the very first audio animatronic style, I don't know, creatures, humans, beings, whatever you want to call this thing. Before any Jungle Cruise existed, you had Project Little Man, where you had Buddy Epson in front of a screen dancing, and then you had Wathel Rogers and a few others. I didn't write down the other Imagineers who worked on it. It wasn't just him by himself, but they worked on getting that character to move using like a cam system behind it, where he would kind of move around little cylinders that would tell it where to move his body, which is what evolved into audio animatronics in early Disneyland. So,
That's
yeah.
So so what I found too is that what I gathered from my research and is that Wathel was a tinkerer from the very beginning of his life. He was creating toys from anything he could find, putting things together, taking things apart, seeing how they worked, and then putting them back together in different ways, or creating new things. And so I think with that tinkerer's mindset, he, like we mentioned, he loved to build models and different things. And I found that in researching it, that he continued this sculpting and building of toys in his spare time, including, of course, model trains. And he had some of these model trains in his office. And when Walt sees a model train, you are now his favorite person, and that is an instant talking point. So that is what caught Walt's attention and really got him into like a first name basis kind of a thing with Walt, because from then on it was like, hey, I know a guy who can do this. So I think by having that tinkerer's mindset, he was the one that Walt gave the antique tiki bird or musical bird to Wathel to take apart and see how it worked. And those inner workings became what we know as the tiki room birds. So it it is all because of Wathel. There's so many classic attractions that we can just have a direct line to him, and I think that that is fascinating.
Yeah, and
So
Walt always saw the potential where it needed to be seen and placed it where it needed to
yeah.
go. So he moved him into Imagineering. He moved Wathel into Imagineering, and he became the man who taught machines how to act and figured out how things worked and how to make them move differently. So
As far as I could tell, his first actual project for the Disneyland project was the three-dimensional model of Main Street USA that they used to kind of like sell the like how to build the things in 3 dimensions, because everything else was drawn just like on paper. So he was the first person to make it into kind of something you can see all the way around. Before he was animating anything, he was just again just a guy making stuff in the model shop because that's where he worked. He wasn't in the machine shop with Roger Broggie and Bob Gurr. He was over in the model shop with Harriet Burns and I can never say his last name, Fred Jurger, something like
Frederick,
that.
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a very interesting world back then, where it was a very small group, very tight group, and there was a lot of cross pollination happening, of people working together. And while he was working in Imagineering, like the line between Imagineering and just working for Walt Disney Pictures was very light. I mean, he was still working in animation. He was still working on the live action films while he was creating models for Main Street. While he was figuring out audio animatronics. Yeah, so it's a very amazing fact that like if he wasn't there, I don't know what Disneyland would be. Which I guess we can say about a lot of these early Imagineers. Like we said it about Bob Gurr, we said it about Harriet Burns, and it's very true for them as well. And for Wathel, it's like wait, what would Disneyland be if we didn't have him coming through here and be like, hey, this is what it should actually look like. Here's how do you make a thing actually move and look realistic.
Would we have
And
our
I
Walt
don't know.
animatronic?
I think we'd have a better one if he was still alive, I assume. But I mean, again, I like the Walt animatronic, and I'm not like one of this. I'm a Walt Disney animatronic apologist over here. I'll say it's fine. But yeah, I understand that some people don't love it, and yeah, it's fine.
As we're sitting here talking about all of these legends, I am just realizing even more the need for the people who were actually there to put out as much as they possibly. So Bob Gurr, tell us everything. Like, I just, as we're sitting here and we're like, well, we don't know which story is true. There's so much conflicting, and like you get different things all over in your research. Really, like, we don't have firsthand accounts anymore. It's hard to find them. So
I
it
was going
just, it just,
through I was going through
okay.
Leslie Iwerks' The Imagineering story, and a lot of the stuff about Wathel in that book is like quotes from Harriet Burns.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of things are like all the stuff about Wathel Rogers, Burns said, or it's just kind of a like, yeah,
Yeah.
have the first-hand account from Wathel. He wasn't one to toot his own horn. He was just making
Yes.
magic and not bragging about it.
And that is something that was often noted about his personality, where there were bigger personalities in the machine shop at that time, or just in Imagineering in general. He kind of just sat back and he was quiet. Wathel just let his work speak for itself, quite literally, because
Yeah.
his pieces were moving and eventually had voices and music timed with them. So it's crazy to think about that it was so ahead of its time with that technology. And we have Wathel Rogers to thank for it, because now we see the amazing things that are done in theme parks all across the world using audio animatronic technology. So he really
And
paved the way for
definitely,
that.
it's definitely evolved, and it also evolved during Wathel's time at Imagineering. I was surprised. I found an article that mentioned that they actually switched from doing things kind of analog, where you look at how they created the animation for some of the earlier um, audio animatronics. They were literally just like carving pieces out of metal, kind of like discs, to have it where like electricity would like go off at certain times to make things move. And then it became more evolved with like electric like tapes and stuff. And yeah, when they moved over to using computers, Wathel was still there. He was one of the first people at Disney who was trained on how to actually control animatronics using computers, which I didn't
And
realize that he made it that far into the development here.
and even before that, he was one of the first Imagineers to use what they called like the animation control console, which it was basically like an animation desk turned into a mixing board. But instead of flipping paper drawings and stuff, they could move levers and dials to record motions, then play them back on a mechanical figure. So, like, think of a DJ's mixer board, but for an animatronic. And then Kevin, just like you said, then it progressed into computers. So it's crazy. It is crazy to think that this wasn't like, it seems like it was a long time ago, but it really wasn't as far
It wasn't
as
that long, yeah.
No.
technology goes.
Yeah, and
Technology
like
is moving so quickly.
yeah, and that was such a big improvement over. I don't know if you guys have seen it. I'm sure you have. Everyone listening as well. If you haven't seen it, go look for it. There was an episode of I don't know if it was like the actual Disneyland show or what it was, where they were talking about how Disneyland goes to the 1964 World's Fair, and they had this one little clip of Wathel and Walt Disney working on the Carousel of Progress, and Wathel's like in a chair strapped to a harness, and Walt is explaining that this is how we animate characters, and Wathel is just moving it around, and then on the stage, I always say John, George, whatever the
Mm-hmm.
father
It's
characters
John.
from John. Thank you.
George.
Oh,
George.
I
Oh
said
wait,
both of those too. I
one
don't.
of them's the son and one of them's the
Does
dad, one of them's the son. Uh-oh.
Well, he animated
Oh
both
dear.
of them.
One of those.
So, so yeah, but he did it all from a chair hooked up to a harness where they said that he would work 8-hour days to 11-hour days in that harness, where he would take like a short break for lunch. And then he was right back to that harness, moving around, trying to get that animation to work.
Yeah. So he
Because,
was trying to
yeah,
sync the gestures to the dialogue to make it look like a stage play.
because it was writing to a tape or something. Because what I heard is that they had no way to edit it. Once he did it, it was all one take, and if he messed up, they had to start all over again, and he had to end it exactly where he started. Otherwise, the animatronic would make a weird like motion going back to the start.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I found a
So,
quote from John Hinch about that. Uh, it says, quote, in those days, you had to strap an actor up in a harness-like device and the actor's movements would make the figure move. Well, one day we found Wathel in the harness. He just jumped in and did it. He loved it. He had a particular knack for knowing what movements the figure should make and when. He had a good eye and a great sense of animation. And I
crazy.
think if you go and watch that clip, if you just search like Carousel of Progress Walt Disney, you'll probably find it. And Wathel Rogers, you'll
Mhm.
probably find it. And just him moving in that harness, it does not look comfortable, but his movements are so precise and calculated, and it just the fact that he was enjoying it, at least to start, that he would like volunteer himself to do that, speaks a lot to his character. And I love that we just talked about that he saw the progression of the technology in his craft, and going from being in that harness to now having it be all on computers, and just the
I was just
advancement.
thinking like CGI and everything, and like when we do animated films, but it's at like it's a physical person. It's like sometimes they
Yeah.
have somebody running those motions and like you're picking up those points on a computer. It's crazy.
Yeah, no, I read
Um,
a thing saying that that was the very first example of motion capture.
yeah.
Like him in that
Yeah.
harness, no, like that technology didn't exist until they created it for the audio animatronics. That's what evolved into mocap we have today. Like Sam was saying, in so many movies that's being used.
So I've got to kind of like, have you guys heard the Lincoln's head popped off story?
I'm not sure what your Lincoln's
Tell
head popped off
tell it
story is,
again.
so tell us.
Tell it again for the listeners.
So on the debut of the Lincoln animatronic, its head actually popped off. And the media the next day were reporting that it was the second assassination of Lincoln.
How sad.
Too
So
soon.
that was a huge thing that Wathel Rogers had to quickly fix and get back in working order, because you couldn't have the media reporting that the company was assassinating the president for a second time.
I also saw, speaking of Lincoln, that the bow at the end was not intentional. That it was kind of like did this weird glitch, and he did the bow, but the crowd lost it. They loved it. They gave him a standing ovation. It was just going bananas over it. And so they decided, okay, well, let's keep it then. We'll adjust it to make him do the bow. And they decided to make some other tweaks out of that, as well, to like keep him standing at the end instead of sitting back down, and like all of those little minor tweaks. But I thought that was very interesting that the bow was an accident at first.
Hey,
Happy
if
little
it
accident.
works, don't fix it.
Right.
But if a head's popping off, definitely fix that.
Please
Definitely
fix
fix
that.
that,
Yeah.
please.
It's a different kind of show.
Yes. All right. Well, with that, we also know some things that might have their heads come off sometimes, and that happens in Sunken City Design art. So let's find out more about that and see the work, the inner mind of Louis Medina in Sunken City Design.
Sunken City Designs brings you art. Do you like art? I know I do. How about art based on Disney characters, like Mickey Mouse and the Oyster Thief? You know, that's actually from Alice in Wonderland, the best princess movie ever made. Also, we have some dwarfs that have their heads ripped off sometimes. Why? I don't know. It's because it's Sunken City Design. So go there, sunkencitydesign.com. Get yourself some great merchandise. You got posters and, I believe, clothes. Who knows? I got a cup from there, and it's fantastic. You like cups? Do you ever use those? I do. Go for it. Oh yeah, sweatshirts. Can't forget about those. If you're ever cold, get yourself a sweatshirt from sunkencitydesign.com. Also, Wall-E. You know, that's the best movie ever made. Second only to Alice in Wonderland. All right, if you obviously like Walt's apartment, they have merch for that too. Where? sunkencitydesign.com. Hopefully you've already loaded up that site and you're looking at it and you have some items in your cart. Go ahead and check out as soon as you can because the show's about to come back on. All right, everybody, we appreciate you.
Do appreciate you. Be sure to check out Sunken City Design over on the Instagrams or the Discord. Another plug for our Discord because he's cranking out all kinds of things and you do not want to miss out. So check him out, sunkencitydesign.com. Yeah. All right, so back to Wathel Rogers. What else do we have?
I do know that with his background in animation, like Kevin was telling us earlier, that he was often teaching other Imagineers that if you animate the mechanics like you would a cartoon character, that's how you were going to get guests to believe in the illusion. So that was like one of his tips that he used when he was like, just make it look like a cartoon character and then it's going to look real. Animate it the same way we do cartoon characters. So, and he did do a lot of teaching. There were a lot of Imagineers that learned what they learned from Wathel Rogers, as they did with all of the other Disney legends at that time, because really these were the pioneers that were paving the way for the theme park industry that we now have today. So
he definitely liked to exaggerate the motions. That's what they say about him in the harness, at least. That he was the one person who knew how to actually like overact to make it look right on the stage, which is very interesting.
I promise you that's the key to engagement because I do that with 5-year-olds all day. Everything just has to be over exaggerated and then they believe it.
You just channel your inner Wathel Rogers.
Yeah, we're going to go with that. We'll go with that.
Those are for the days you need to dig down deep and push through.
I'm gonna be like messaging you guys. Today's a Wathel Rogers kind of day.
You guys can use that at home too.
I do have a note here saying that he worked, because again, he was in the model shop with Harriet Burns. So he also worked on props and miniatures for live action films like Darby O'Gill and The Little People and The Absent-Minded Professor and The Mickey Mouse Club and Zorro. And even the anthology shows of Mars and Beyond and Man on the Moon, or Man and the Moon, sorry. Just very interesting because like I feel like no one really talks about it. I don't even know where I got this quote from. I'm pretty sure it's true. But it's one of those things where people kind of just like skip ahead to, and he is Mr. Audio Animatronics. I think I found that name for him on like at least 20 different websites. Where they kind of gloss over how much like this guy had to work before he got to that point. And yeah, it is amazing that he actually was able to be put in a position, because obviously like what he did wasn't a thing that existed. So it's not like they hire the guy who knew how to make audio animatronics.
Right.
He invented ways for things to work, which is just, I don't know, it's crazy to me that he was definitely the grandfather of it all.
And didn't just make them work, but he was so quick to fixate on making sure that they worked smoothly, that they worked correctly, that they looked realistic and authentic. So I agree with Kevin, what Kevin said earlier. I think that, the Walt animatronic would have a little extra touch to it. Not that it's not great, but that it would have a little extra touch to it if Wathel Rogers had his hand on it, along with other animatronics all around the parks.
Oh, yeah.
So,
I mean, people keep trying to outdo each other. I get that, but yeah, no, it's tough.
sometimes going back to the basics is go back to the basics and then
Go
build.
back.
Yep.
Doesn't hurt.
And Kevin, you had asked, I don't know where I got that information from about the live action stuff. I found it in the Imagineering Legends book. So just to give a little shout out, if you don't have this book, Walt Disney's Imagineering Legends by Jeff Curdy, it is a fantastic book. Definitely pick it up. So yeah, in it, he also they also talk about how he designed the models for the man in space things when they were doing the TV episodes for Ward Kimball's Man in Space programs. So Wathel created all the models that were shown in that entire series, including the full-scale model of the moon rockets, which is just crazy. I also saw, like we were talking about Harriet Burns and Fred Yerger, that they were put on a project. Walt said, hey, I need you guys to work on the Los Angeles Orthopedic Hospital and make a model for them. And Fred said, Walt, we're already working on this thing called Disneyland over here. We ain't got time for that. And Walt said, oh, Fret not. I know a guy. I will bring Wathel into this project and help you guys out with that. So that is kind of how they got connected. And that's why we have so many quotes from Harriet Burns and Fred about Wathel, because that is what kicked off their long-running career with each other in the models department. So I just thought that was really, really cool.
That's really cool.
Like, hey, we're working on Disneyland over here. I don't have time to work on your model for the hospital. I'm sorry. It's like,
ain't nobody got time for that.
Yeah, we'll still work on it, but I'll just throw an extra helping hand in there. So.
And you did say no to Walt.
Did Wathel work on that project, or did Wathel work on Disneyland after that? And then Fred worked on that project. I guess we'll never.
Yeah, from what I gathered, Wathel was brought in to assist with the hospital project, and then from there they all worked on Disneyland. And he did the models for the Main Street, like we were talking about for the TV show. So,
very cool. Yeah. Do you want to tell a story about Rolly Crump?
Oh my goodness! So I saw a story about Rolly Crump that Wathel had gone into. I can't remember why he went into Rolly Crump's office, but he went in there, and or no, it was the other way around. Wait a minute.
Oh no! Do you even know the story?
Fact check.
I do. I was. Hang on. Time for a fact check. I did not expect you to ask me about this.
I curveballed you with that. I apologize.
You did.
It's okay. You're a fast thinker, Amanda. You got this.
Okay, I got this. Okay, so because it was in this book that I just mentioned.
While she's looking it up, though, I can tell you it's from. Okay, it's also More Cute Stories by Rolly Crump. There's an audio clip available on YouTube about it. So if you look up Wathel Rogers and Rolly Crump and More Cute Stories, you'll find this audio clip.
More Cute Stories?
Yeah, because he has his original book was It's Kind of a Cute Story, where he talks kind of about his career and getting into all the stuff he did, and it kind of culminates with It's Small World. And then he has the follow-up book, More Cute Stories, where he brings up this one.
Okay, well, I can't find it as quickly as I would like. So, but in essence, on the desk was a little pinwheel, and that is what was the inspiration. Like, it was just like, oh, that's really cool. That's the inspiration for the Four Winds and the It's a Small World like look, essentially. But
I have more notes on it here if you want me to just go over
notes
Why
am I
episode.
Searching through this book?
Kevin,
you already have notes.
You told me about it last night. I thought you had it written down.
I did.
Okay, now guys, now we're arguing. Okay.
So a long time ago.
With your notes.
All right. So I wrote down. This is all from that video. I just scribbled these down as Rolly Crump actually does his own audio on this book, so it's him telling you the story. Where he went to Wathel Rogers' office and saw a propeller, And he was like, "Whoa, this is really cool." And like he was asked him like how he did it, and Wathel refused to tell him. He was all just like, just get back to work, essentially. But eventually he was like, "Hey, you know what, Rolly, I'll sell it to you for," and then he's like, "How much?" He's like, "For a penny." So he gave him a penny, and then Wathel gave him this black wing racer clip apparently that was used to make a propeller, and Rolly kept trying to make it by using a nail apparently to try to like put a hole into a thing to make it work. But according to Wathel, no, you have to use a ballpoint pen because otherwise you're gonna like ruin it. It won't work correctly. So once Rolly figured that out, he was like, "Oh, this is amazing!" So he just started kind of becoming obsessed with it and started making a bunch of them. He got to the point where he actually had a little museum exhibit at studios full of all of his colors, which is what Walt Disney saw, and he was like, "Hey, Rolly, you made all those propellers, right?" He's like, "Yeah, you like them?" It's like, "Yeah, we're working on a thing for It's a Small World going in. It's like the new ride over at the World's Fair. We want to build a big tower full of things that move around. If you know how to do stuff like this, you're in charge of that." And that's why the Tower of the Four Winds became his project, was because Walt found his propellers on exhibit because he made them, because Wathel had it just somewhere. He just created it for
He
no
was
good
a
reason, as far
tinkerer.
as exactly. Wathel just thought, yeah, this is easy, done. So
See,
it's kind of
that
funny.
is much better than the 2 sentences I found in that book. So I'm so
That is
glad
a
you took
cute
notes on this.
story too.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
It's a
that's
very
awesome.
cute story.
Yeah, if you never listened to his books, they're really good for Rolly. Again, it's all in his own voice. He's the one telling the stories.
Talk about firsthand experiences.
For sure. Trying to see my other good notes here. He also, I don't know, I'm not clear if he worked on Country Bear Jamboree. There is a quote from Wathel talking about it, talking about how Walt had envisioned the bear band and like the story behind it. Um, so I assume that he was on that project as well, which would make a lot of sense. For anyone who doesn't know, the Country Bear Jamboree was originally created for the Mineral King Resort that was going to be over in the Sequoia National Park area. And after Walt's passing, that project fell apart. Um, but the people who stayed around, including Wathel, were like, "Hey, we should build these things even though Walt's not here." That's the reason we have the Hall of Presidents and the Country Bear Jamboree, because they were both projects that Walt really wanted. Like he designed them, he was like, "This is great, let's do this," and they were never built in his lifetime. But the Imagineers who were around during his lifetime fought to have them be created, and that's why they still exist over the Magic Kingdom, at least today. I think the Country Bears are also in Tokyo. I'm waiting for them to return to California someday.
Well, right now they're
Yeah, they're
globetrotting and they don't want to see you, Kevin. Sorry.
How sad. We're gonna
How
be in Florida in like
sad.
a week and a half. We'll
We
see
get to
them.
see.
Don't worry.
By
Is
the
this the
time this
first time you've
airs,
seen the new ones?
What was that?
Is this the first time you've seen the new, like?
Oh no,
Since
we
the
were there last year,
Oh,
right after they came out. We've
gotcha.
heard them a lot over at Disneyland, over at the Country Bear Jamboree Barbecue, whatever it's called. Hungry Bear Jamboree
Hungry
Barbecue.
Bear
Hungry
Jamboree.
Bear Jamboree.
It's such a long name, but yeah, no, it's
It
fun.
is. But yes, they have the track playing in like
Yeah.
while you're eating. So
That's cute.
More
cute.
Yeah, it is pretty cute. Other things that Wathel worked on, we have America Sings, we have the Hall of Presidents, and Horizons at Epcot in 1983. He also worked on the Confucius character for the Chinese dinner theater back before
Which
in the
never
early
existed.
days
But yeah.
of no, it didn't, but it was in the early renderings of Disneyland, and that idea was scrapped and they went with the Tiki Room instead. But he worked on that character. And then just going through my notes. He was also well before that. I have that he was also an assistant animator, and he worked on Cinderella, Alice in Wonderland, Lady and the Tramp, Beauty and the Beast, and several shorts.
Beauty and the
So-
Beast. That can't right.
Oh, that it's just Sleeping Beauty, not Beauty and the Beast.
Okay.
He jumped
Like,
ahead in
wow.
time.
Kevin's like,
and-
that can't be right.
No.
Skipping ahead, he retired in
I was
1987. So
I was reading and scrolling at the same time, and that did not work.
okay.
Sleeping
it's
Beauty
funny.
and several shorts.
The official book, I think you have it over by you still. I don't think I grabbed it. The one about the windows on Main Street. they actually have it listed that he worked for. They have like his career time spans where it's like before the war, and then he came back after the war, and then it says that he retired in 1997, according to that book officially by Disney. He
What book
retired in
is
19.
that?
Do you have
This
the name of
is
it there?
the people behind Disney parks, stories of those honored with a window on Main Street.
I don't think I've seen that one. I
But yeah,
don't have that
fact check.
one.
It does say he retired in 1997. He retired in 1987 though, because like I was trying to
Hmm.
figure it out because he received his window at Disneyland in 1992. When I
And
read
he
that,
got his Legends Award in 95, I think.
yeah, yeah. So he definitely did not retire in 1997. Everyone else has agreed that he retired in 1987. So I just wanted to make sure that anyone who has that book and wants to fact check us, saying like, actually, it says right here. I'm pretty sure that's not true. If anyone can prove me wrong, go ahead and let me know. But yeah, because yeah, again, he did get his window in 1992 at Disneyland. It says you'll cut a fine figure, Wathel Roger menswear for some reason. I don't know why they gave him a menswear window. I'm not clear on that. It has a picture of like a young man riding a horse, like blowing a horn. I'm not really sure how they chose this for him. It's right above the Century Jeweler shop. So
Well, I mean, there's not anything robotics related, and technically, animatronics are characters that need to be able to move properly in their clothing.
yeah,
So
so I mean, I
I'm
guess
just
he cuts
gonna,
a fine figure.
spitball it.
Sure, makes sense. He also has a
Yeah.
window over at the Magic Kingdom that's been there since 1975, which I think is when they started putting in the windows over there because there's a lot of people who got windows in 1975 who were still working for the company actively, and it's
It's
a
because they
shared
were
window.
OGs.
Yeah, I mean, there's the rule with Disneyland that Marty Sklar put out saying that um, the people who created Disneyland were given windows, or people who were like, pivotal to design being created were given windows right at the beginning of Disneyland. But after that, the only way to get a window is if you were retired and if you were like renowned and if everyone agreed that you deserved one. I don't remember his exact wording, but the main point though is that you have to be retired. You cannot be like an active employee or whatever cast member, whatever you want to call it, for Disney and have a window over at Disneyland. Um, which is why the dates threw me off when I was reading the book. I'm like, I feel like I've learned less by looking at this. But 1975, though, is when he got the window over there for the Buena Vista Magic Lantern slides. It has like an old school projector on it that says "Treat your friends to our special tricks," like in like the section where the camera is projecting,
Makes sense with him being the magician.
which makes a lot more sense. Like I
Yeah.
think he should be on the Magic Hop over here at Disneyland on this coast. But he shares the window, like I said, with Yale Gracie, Bud Martin,
Mhm.
and Ken O'Brien. And Ken O'Brien was actually the other guy who was trained on computers when they switched him over from the analog animatronics to computer based. It was Wathel and Ken O'Brien who were trained on how to do computer based audio animatronics.
Mhm. Very neat.
Um,
And then I think, so yeah, 1995 is when he got his Disney Legends Award. Unfortunately, he passed in 2000, I believe.
yeah.
Um, but obviously, he left a legacy that we're still talking about today. So we still get to
Absolutely.
enjoy a lot of the things that he brought to the parks because those Disney classic rides all had a little bit of his touch. And yeah, it's
He
great.
does have a tombstone in both Disneyland and over at the Magic Kingdom over at the Haunted Mansion, where it says, "Here rests Wathel R. Bender. He rode to glory on a Bender. Peaceful rest." So there you go. I don't know how he passed, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't on a Fender, hopefully. So
Well, I'm curious, like with the riding to glory and the horse being on his
right.
window, if there was some connection there to horseback
I
riding.
was I was looking up like did I literally like Googled did Wathel Rogers ride horses? And it was all like, we're gonna remove the word horses from your Google request here and say, yes, he worked on many rides. I'm like, no, that's not what I was asking though. So I don't know. I haven't found anyone to confirm or deny it. So again, if anyone listening knows, feel free to join
Right.
us. Show us a photo to prove it.
Yeah, we want the fact checks over here.
100%.
Yes, absolutely. Well, before we head into our armchair Imagineering segment, let's hear from Getaway Today and let's start planning our next vacation already.
It's been a great show so far, but who's ready for an ad break? Did you know that the best way to keep our shows going is by supporting our sponsors? So, let's get to know more about the travel experts at Getaway Today. They've been helping to make vacation dreams come true since 1990. And whether you want to visit the happiest place on earth or to travel to Orlando for a most epic adventure, they are there to help. Are you trying to find out which hotel is your best option or which theme park tickets will work best for your visit? Are you concerned that you might need a last minute change? No worries. Their travel experts will help you out. Looking to book a cruise but don't know where to start? Hey, they can help with that too. They will find the perfect cruise for your vacation, whether it's your first time or you're a well-seasoned cruiser. When you book your cruise with one of the Getaway Today experts, you will have a dedicated agent to help you every step of the way. They take care of the details so you can have the most fun. Getaway Today offers peace of mind travel, allowing you to cancel or make changes up to 72 hours before your trip. You will always have the most up-to-date vacation information, both pre-arrival and upon welcome. Getaway Today guarantees the best prices, with no hidden fees, and every time you book through Getaway Today, they will donate a portion back to a charitable organization in your area. And so far, over $4.5 million have been donated. So, go ahead and dial 1-855-GETAWAY, that's 1-855-438-2929, and be sure to tell them that Walt's Apartment sent you. Or just click the link in our show notes for more information and the best deals to start your Disney, Universal Studios, or cruise vacation planning. What I'm trying to say is, if you like to travel, check out Getaway Today. Alright, so now it's time to get back to enjoying that view from Walt's apartment. Let's get back to the show.
Absolutely. Check out Getaway Today. They have a wealth of knowledge for all things travel. So even if you just have a quick question, definitely reach out to them because they can make the most of your next trip. So we're at one of my favorite parts of the show, and that's the Armchair Imagineering segment. So how this works is we take either an existing attraction or a new attraction, and we kind of plus it, give it a new spin, a new twist, or something as it relates to our current Imagineer that we're talking about. So in this case, Wathel Rogers, the godfather of audio animatronics, how are we going to either plus an existing attraction or create something brand new? And it doesn't have to be an attraction, it could be just an experience or just anything, really. It's a blue sky session. There's no bad ideas here. So
There's no rules.
There's no rules. So who wants to go first?
I'll go.
I can. Okay, okay, that's fine. We have a little delay here, so it's hard to like
We do have a
agree at the
delay,
same
that's
time.
true.
It's not that we're being rude.
We didn't plan this
So,
out.
so Sam, you go first. Mine's not that good. I'll like let's save it for the middle.
Okay. Oh, Sam, you're in this. What is happening here?
We have two Sams.
We have two Sams. Why do we have two Sams?
The show's falling apart, guys. Did
What
you?
is
Yeah, we can
happening?
hear you. We hear you laughing,
hear
so we know
you.
you're there.
Now you're
All right.
muted.
Can you hear
Do
me
you
twice?
No.
No.
I hear you guys twice.
Oh, that's weird. Do you want for me to just go then while you try to figure out your stuff? You can like
Sure.
log out and log back in. All right. All right. Well, we lost Sam, so I guess I'll go with my weak version first here. So my first initial idea was to just double down since he also worked in the model shop with Harriet Burns on the last episode with Harriet Burns and said, hey, whatever's happening over at the Storybook Land canal boats, we need for her help on that. We need for his help on it as well. But with his Mr. Artie animatronics, my real idea for him, it's I don't know, I don't want to say it's controversial because I don't know if anyone remembers this, but back when DCA California Adventure first opened, there was a show there called Golden Dreams. Like it was a
Mhm.
show all about the history of California, and if you look at a lot of early California adventure art, it include stuff that was only in that film, to try to represent California with like miners and I don't know, other stuff. Not that important to the story that I'm telling right now. But the problem with that attraction was that it had zero animatronics. So it had Whoopi Goldberg projected onto the walls, fine, but what it needed were animatronics. So we can get a new version of that show, or like, an improved version of that show, but with the animatronics that it should have had from the first place, Wathel Rogers style. I think it'd be a great thing to add California Adventure to make it back into California Adventure if they're not just completely giving up on that theme.
I was gonna say, are they just giving up on that theme? Because that's definitely seems like the direction that they're going. But where would this go?
Over in the California part,
What?
I'm sure it exists there somewhere.
Wow.
I'm sure it's still there.
Okay. We have
Um,
the Redwood Creek Challenge Trail. That's still part of California. Um,
it's true. I mean, you have
uh,
like kind of like, I know people have said like where the mountain is right now, there's like room in there for like a theater, because people have been saying like the Country Bear should go back there for like years now. But
mhm.
that's one idea. I can see it being in there. It feels very California on that part of the park. Yeah, a lot of California Adventure does feel very California. Like, I wouldn't say it's like being thrown out. It's only because of Avatar, really. That's the one that they're adding there, where it's like, how do you make that fit other than, Michael Eisner's original plaque said that we're going to take people to space. So that's the one loose
Yeah.
connection that we have with that.
But I mean,
So
like to that point, I mean, to throw this in there, of you had San Francisco, and now you made
yeah,
it San Francisco, so that part is like
yeah,
adjacent. You
yep.
had the Paradise Pier, which is now Pixar Piers. That's
Yeah,
adjacent.
just to be clear though, Pixar is headquartered in California.
I understand. It's
Okay.
still
It's
not.
an Emeryville,
It's not
California company.
about.
Semantics.
It's
Yeah.
not about California anymore, though. So I think the Grizzly Airfield is really I mean, you have Hollywood Land, but then that's, like we said, is going to be cut in half for Avatar. Um, so I mean, before they take it down, Studio 12 or 17 is just an empty building, so it could go in there. If there's actually room under Grizzly Peak for a theater, that would that would be pretty cool. But
Keep in mind that Disneyland Forward is still on the table, so if we're going to be going
that's
across the
true.
walkways and stuff, sure,
That's
it
a
could
good
go
point.
anywhere.
I
I'm just
like
saying,
it.
put California back into California Adventure. That's my dream.
Hey,
I
well,
agree.
I'm going to put culture back into the World Showcase.
Okay.
You
Saying
actually
there's
brought
no
up
culture.
Avatar too, and that's what inspired this.
Yep.
I hear myself twice. It's so crazy, but we're going to keep going. So I want to create a new attraction experience where you are doing, or you're being able to listen to different stories being told by animatronic narrators. I am hearing myself twice. It's driving me crazy. Sorry, guys. Animatronic narrators from different cultures. So think like a Native American elder, like a Japanese kabuki. So just like different folk tales being told. And that gives you like a rewritability factor because you can tell different tales from the different cultures and you're sharing different essences of the culture with narrators that are animatronics. I would go in more detail, but I can't say the sound of my voice right now. Sorry.
Yeah, you're a little choppy over here too.
You are, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm not sure what happened there. Um,
I'm not sure.
I think I missed it though. Where is this going to be placed? Is it in the Japan Pavilion or just?
I would use no. So it's going to be
Okay.
any World Showcase pavilion can have
Okay.
something featured in there. So there's like the spot where they do festival pop-ups and stuff between France and Morocco. They could build something there. There's already space.
Okay.
We
Some of
do
that was
have
taken up by
some.
Ratatouille, but yeah.
No, there are some spaces in between the countries that is was sectioned off for expansion pads. Um, that they can build out and have some sort of theater show or um yeah, yeah, I can see that. Um and learning more about the culture. Um, and I think having the animatronics would be a good break from the screens, because what we have now is a lot of screens, um, which is yeah. So any chance you can bring the art of the audio animatronic in there, and I mean with today's technology, they can be very elaborate with their movements and stuff and really tell that story. So yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah. I mean, for anyone out there who hasn't been to the American Adventure over in the American Pavilion at Epcot, go to that. I mean, again, we
Do
said that
it.
Wathel Rogers worked on that, and you can tell that a lot of heart was put into the animatronics on that show. Which is again, Golden Dreams was kind of a derivative of that production, just minus all of the animatronics, which is why I went back to it.
Yeah. Yeah. And Wathel Rogers worked on Benjamin Franklin walking, that
Oh,
walking movement.
the
So
first
I
walking
found that,
animatronic.
yeah. So I thought that was awesome too. Well, mine sounds like basic compared to
Oh no,
yours.
thought mine was boring.
Um, no, no, I just think the more we can learn, like you said, Sam, the more we can learn from firsthand accounts, the better. And so having some sort of class or a tour or something within the parks where we are learning firsthand from Imagineers would be awesome. So I think like what Garner Holt does for in his team, and putting on together classes and things of how animatronics work and the robotics of things and getting really hands on. So having a like audio animatronics 101 kind of a class where you can build a quote unquote simple audio animatronic, and just get the basics of that mechanics. Like I think people like us would love to get hands on with that and do something new and then have that deeper appreciation like in seeing the ones on the in the attractions like, "Oh my gosh, okay, I understand how the hydraulics work now. I understand like this component and this component and all these things that work together." And there's so many of them in this ride, and just have that mind blown of like, "Oh my gosh, like we went from this to this," and I don't know. I just think that would be so much fun. So,
Would be a lot of
having
fun.
something like that, as a special class, um, or a tour, but I think a class, like, where you're sitting down and really working through something.
And they
Like
do
similar to Art
have,
of Animation.
oh, I love that.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say there are some engineers who do walking tours. You can, like when you, so I know Brian Collins does it and he does walking tours. Do I sound awful?
It
You
is really hard
so
to hear
loud.
you.
Yeah, we have no idea what Sam's trying to say. Sorry about that, everybody.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, there are some Imagineers that do some tours of different things. I know you said Garner Holt. I would love a Garner Holt sponsored art of audio animatronics type of in park. If not like an actual class, something similar to a class, like the Art of
Right.
Animation over at Disney's California Adventure, and they used to have it over at I think it was at Hollywood Studios. They had one of those as well, but
Yeah.
we'll see if it
Yeah.
comes
You
back
could
when they bring that back.
Yeah, you can have something there. Uh, I think there's a spot in every park where there would be room for this. Um, and you can even have a spin on that park. So over at Animal Kingdom, you could have a show happening um maybe towards the latter part of the day where you don't have a theater production happening at Lion King or at the Nemo show or the bird show, and you just have a talk there. Um, but it's about animals and how you make the animals move, different birds or something like that. So I don't know. I think the possibilities are pretty endless, and I think that there would be a high demand for it. So, and it'd be something new. So, talk about, you know, like it would be an easy way to bring in income for the Disney properties, like to have something sponsored. I think would be cool too. So, make it happen,
100%.
Disney.
I can see that over like in the Imagination Pavilion over at Epcot, no problem. I can also
Yeah.
see that anywhere in California Adventure because again, these are California companies that spearheaded this. You have Disney and Garner Holt out of California who are the reason why we have these in so many parks today, even outside of Disney parks. So yeah, I think that that'd be amazing.
Okay, so it wasn't as basic as
No, that's a great idea. I would attend that every time
thanks.
I went. Yes, that's right.
Right? And then like I just think about how you have the food and wine festivals where you have like different events happening within the festivals where they have um you know beer and wine seminars and different classes within the event, something like that, but with what you're doing behind the scenes and making the magic happen. So it could just be a seasonal thing. Doesn't have to be every day.
I'm okay with it being every day personally,
I'm
but
okay with it being every day too. I'm just saying, like from a logistic standpoint, it might be hard to hire somebody to make that happen consistently. But if it's just for a little season, just for a couple of times, I guarantee you it'll sell out faster than Oogie Boogie Bash tickets. Like it'll be huge.
I remember years ago, before I met you, I went on the Walk in Walt's Footsteps tour,
Yeah.
and inside of the Enchanted Tiki Room over there, they actually brought out one of the flowers, where it was like, "Hey, this is one of the
Oh,
flowers that we no longer use because it like wore out, but you can see how it works." And they let you actually hold it and like move like the mechanics on it to see how the mouth on the flower moved. So
that's cool.
it's kind of like that, but like a little bumped up a little bit. Is kind of what I'm picturing from your description.
Yeah, that didn't happen when I went on that tour.
You didn't go on it with me. It's true.
No, I didn't. But yeah, that's awesome. All right. Well, Sam, I wish your mic worked. So I know you're like
Right.
eager to say something. But okay. Well, we will continue this conversation over on our Discord. So if you are not in there, then please join us. It's free and we're all in there in the entire Walt's Apartment team. So we're having conversations about Disney all day long. So definitely hop in there and share your ideas. What are your armchair Imagineering ideas? Do you like ours? Would you add on to it? Uh, come up with some ideas on your own and share with us in our Discord. So, if you have enjoyed this episode, and I hope you have, then again, scroll down on your podcast player and give us a 5-star rating and review. And if you have an extra minute to leave a written review or share it with another armchair Imagineer, that would be amazing. It only takes a second and it tells all those other players that we're doing something great and it helps out the channel. So, if you're checking us out on YouTube, hello. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss an episode. And be sure to check out our amazing sponsors, our free Discord, and our Patreon page for all the details. Links to everything are in the show notes. And until next time, continue to place trust in the magic of imagination. And remember, the details within the parks surround us in our everyday lives. Imagine that. See you next time.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome. Disneyland is your land. Here age relives fond memories of the past, and here youth may savor the challenge and promise of the future. Disneyland is dedicated to the ideals, the dreams, and the hard facts that have created America, with the hope that it will be a source of joy and inspiration to all the world.